Hey, welcome to the Explainer. You know, we've all played pretend. We've all had those moments, especially as kids, where that line between what's real and what's not gets, well, it gets a little blurry. Today, we're diving right into that line. What happens when our amazing, powerful imaginations slam headfirst into cold, hard reality?
And it all kicks off with a really simple question, one that a little girl named Evelyn asks while she's watching cartoons. And it's this one question, right, that just cracks open this huge conversation about what we believe, why we believe it, and what happens when those beliefs get put to the ultimate test.
So, this is really the heart of it, isn't it? It's that first big collision between what's going on in our heads and what's actually happening in the world. It's that moment you realize that believing something with every fiber of your being doesn't automatically make it true. And man, that can be a really tough lesson to learn.
Evelyn definitely learned this one the hard way. I mean, she's watching superheroes, she's all in, and she thinks, I can fly. The result? A jump off the front porch and a hurt foot. It's that first painful reminder about the laws of physics. A perfect example of a beautiful idea meeting a very, very immovable object, gravity.
Now, what's so wild about this is just how universal it is. It's not just Evelyn. Her mom shares her own story of, running full speed into her bedroom wall, totally convinced she could phase through it like a ghost. She even has a scar on her nose as a permanent reminder that reality, well, it doesn't bend, no matter how badly you want it to.
But what happens if we don't learn from those scraped knees and bumped noses? This is where Evelyn's mom brings up this really powerful idea of a fantasy prison. It's this place where adults can get stuck, trapped by these unexamined beliefs from their childhood, and they never fully grow up into a world based on what's real.
And this is a huge moment for Evelyn. She remembers believing in Santa Claus. I mean, believing so completely, with the visits, the presents, the whole shebang. But she realizes her powerful, all-in belief had absolutely zero effect on the facts. It's kind of sad, but it's so crucial. Reality is just reality, no matter how we feel about it.
Okay, so let's take this out to the playground, because this is where things get even more interesting. I mean, it's one thing when a fantasy is just you in your own head, right? But it's a whole other ballgame when that fantasy starts to clash with everyone else's shared reality. And that's where we meet the alien kid. So this kid, he's not just playing around at recess. Oh no. He has built this entire identity that lets him operate outside of the school's normal rules. He says his alien status means he doesn't have to walk on the right side of the hall or line up with everyone else. His fantasy is literally a tool he's using to live in his social world a little differently.
So the big question is, why? Why does he do it? And Evelyn's mom has this really smart take on it. Sometimes, fantasy is a defense mechanism. It's a shield. When the real world feels overwhelming or just plain scary, retreating into a story where you're the special, powerful one, well, that can feel like the safest place to be.
Okay, so this is crucial. There's a line, right? A really important line. Fantasy is amazing and healthy as long as everyone knows it's a game, and it operates inside a shared agreement of keeping everyone safe. It only becomes a problem when it starts breaking important real-world rules, or worse, when someone gets hurt.
Okay, but what happens when it's not just one kid? What happens when an entire system, an entire school just decides to, throw that line out the window? What happens when the adults in charge don't just allow the game, but they actually encourage everyone to live inside it?
Well, things just spiral out of control, like so fast. You have these individual fantasies, a space marshal, a dragon, a monster hunter, all starting to disrupt classes. But instead of bringing things back to reality, the administration actually doubles down. They declare a school-wide make-believe month. Now everyone gets a fantasy identity.
And this is where it stops being a game. In the middle of the cafeteria, a student playing a fox decides he's going to play hunt, and he starts chewing on another student's arm. That line we just talked about, it's been crossed. Big time.
And from there, it's just total chaos. When the monster hunter kid tries to save the bunny, the space marshal kid arrests him because he doesn't have a hunting license. With no real rules, all the fantasies don't just collide, they violently collide. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, an 8-year-old Dr. Tom rushes in to perform first aid with a toy medical kit and some stickers. The very systems that are supposed to keep kids safe have been completely replaced by make-believe.
This is the one question that just cuts through all the noise. In the middle of all this pandemonium, you have to ask, where were the grown-ups? Where was the person who was actually in charge of maintaining reality and making sure everyone was safe?
And this just says it all, doesn't it? It shows the total system breakdown. The teacher wasn't a teacher anymore. She was Bunny Sue, just another character in the game. The one person with the authority to enforce the rules of reality had completely abandoned her post. So after seeing all that chaos, it really makes you wonder, why do we even do this? If make-believe doesn't actually change the facts and can lead to such a mess, what's the point? Why are we so drawn to telling ourselves these powerful stories?
And maybe this is the simplest, most honest answer of all. Reality has sharp edges. It can be hard, it's demanding, and sometimes it's really painful. Pretending, dreaming, that can feel like a much softer, safer place to be. It's an escape. And that's where we're going to leave it by turning this whole thing back on you. Evelyn's journey, from believing in cartoons to questioning her own reality, is a journey we all take in some way. So it's worth asking yourself, which parts of your life are real? And which parts are just stories you haven't gotten around to questioning yet?